we'll dive into it. We're going to do somewhat of a full body movement break, but the focus is really the core today. So follow along. We're going to need a little bit of room, and you may either want to be down on the floor for some parts of this if you're comfortable doing that, or you might want a surface to put your hands so you could do some quadruped kind of positions for yourself. So just the heads up. To start off warming up, a lot of times we do these circles through our joints. Today, because we're focused on our core, we're going to do just a couple of standing circles, and then we're going to do a couple of circles in that quadruped position. So just kicking off with the arms and making some really nice big circles. If I want to, I could even cross my arms in front of my body, reaching. If you do this, it's nice to alternate which arm is on top. Makes it a little bit of a mindfulness activity because then you have to remember which arm is on top. Can kind of help keep you from thinking about past and future stresses, which we could all use a little bit of assistance with. And you can also synchronize it with your breath. So maybe I'm inhaling my arms up and pausing, and then exhaling them down. Maybe reverse that, honestly, whatever works for you. And then let's reverse the direction of the circle. So now bringing my arms back behind me, checking in that my shoulders are staying down as I'm doing this. Just exploring this movement. So I can have my arms crossed, but I don't have to. I could even choose to intentionally raise my shoulders up towards my ears for some part of it, and then contrast with dropping them down just to make sure that I'm actually getting that length through my spine and I'm not remaining hunched up. Use the tricks that work for you. And if there's some part of the circle that isn't working for you, let's say reaching back doesn't work for me, that's causing me pain, you can just bring your arms up and then bring them down, or you could do a completely different thing. Let's move on to our hip joint, and I'm going to draw a big circle around my hip with my knee, holding onto something for stability if you would like. So big circle, maybe I'll just put my hand on as like a little highlighter for you so you can see what's happening here. On my screen, it shows up really small, so sometimes it's really difficult to know what's going to translate well for you and what isn't. And then reversing the direction of that circle. You'll see that I'm going out as far as I can here, up as high as I can, across my body as much as it'll go, and then down. Now, when I'm going across, I'm not rotating through my ankle and twisting through my knee and all of that. I'm still staying square towards you. I'm just getting movement through my hip joint by drawing the biggest circle I can with my knee. Beautiful. Of course, I'm engaging my core for stability here, and we'll switch sides. So now with my right knee, drawing the biggest circle I can around my hip. Nice. All right, so now we're going to let gravity pull on us from a slightly different angle. So whether you're on the floor or your hands are on an object, you're going to come into a quadruped position here as close as it'll work, right? I'm not perfectly horizontal or parallel with the ground with my upper body. I'm just kind of close, honestly. That is good enough for today and our purposes. While I'm here, one of the important things I want to do is make sure I'm not rounding through my upper back too much or collapsing through my lower back too much. It's hard to see on me. I have a hard time arching my lower back. And with my head position, I want that to be somewhat in line with the rest of the spine. So if you have to look occasionally at the screen to make sure that you're doing things okay, that's fine. But try not to be kinking too much through your neck or dropping your head too far down. Try and keep ears primarily in line with shoulders and in line with hips. And we're going to go forward and do these hip circles again. Drawing the biggest circle I can with my left knee around my left hip joint. Now here it could be tempting to open all the way up and really rotate, but try to avoid rotation first. And then a little later on, we'll have an opportunity for you to really get into the stretch. So reverse direction with your circle. Beautiful. And now, biggest circle you can now rotate, open up through your hip joint if you would like. And we're aiming for a total of 3. So now I am on my third one here. And I'm just going to sort of go around the clock and do my left hand next. So reaching forward, reaching up, reaching back and down, not rotating through my shoulders, dropping or raising, just staying square to the floor beneath me through my shoulders. Now, one of the nice things about a quadruped position is it can help to retrain our bodies to counteract some of the bad stuff that happens to us from sitting. Go ahead and switch directions with this circle. So when babies are crawling, it's training their muscles and their core and their back to work properly and to support them when they're walking around. All right, let's switch sides here. And continuing around the clock, I'm going to check in with my body position first, make sure my back is pretty flat, and then I'm going to rotate, do my big arm circles. So if you're here and you're thinking, gosh, I'd like to get some of that good baby crawling in, think about your head position, drawing your head slightly back in space, so pushing the back of your head up towards the ceiling, and then looking forward slightly. And you might feel something in your mid to upper back squeeze, right? You feel a muscle working that wasn't working before. And that's really what we're after. Taking a moment for your hip joint now. And reversing direction. I don't know about you, but I'm getting some Rice Krispies, some snap, crackle, and pops from getting into these positions that I'm not usually in. And now, if you're ready, doing the biggest circle that you possibly can. So opening up to the side. Beautiful. All right, from here, we're just going to do a little bit of a cat-cow. So dropping your stomach, your chest down, almost drawing your chest between your hands. It's not going to go, but aiming for that direction. And drawing the back of my head back in space so that I'm pushing this stretch into my mid and upper back and less arching my lower back. And then when I'm rounding, tucking my tailbone under, so I'm rounding through my lower back, I'm tucking my chin, but I'm not pushing all the stretch into my upper back. It can be included, but it's not the start of the show. And going back and forth. You can pause and take a few breaths in each position, or you have the option to synchronize it with your breath. So you're inhaling for the arching and you're exhaling for rounding. Almost like you're using that rounding to squeeze out your breath. Nice. So from here, and I'm just going to rotate so that you can see, I'm going to take my left hand, place it directly under the center of my chest, and then I'm going to reach up with my right hand to get a little twist through my body that's supported. If this twist doesn't work for you, you can absolutely do the standing variety that we often do. So I'm reaching. And then I'm going to inhale and lengthen through my spine. And I'm going to exhale and see if I can twist open just a little bit more. You can see that my right arm is not perfectly up towards the ceiling. That's artificial where it just went. If my left arm is straight, it's a little off to the side. That's okay. I still have goals to reach. So it's good to have room to grow. And then switching sides, placing my right hand directly under the center of my chest. And then I'm reaching up with my left hand. Get in a breath or two here. We're aiming for an exhilarating stretch, right? A good big old morning stretch kind of a feeling. If this isn't it for you, if you're getting cramping or discomfort, come in and out of it or modify it so that it is comfortable for you. So that might be doing the standing twist instead. All right, so now I'm moving the stool out of my way here. I'm going to take a little stretch for my hip flexors. When my hip flexors are too tight, as they do for a lot of people, a lot of people who spend a lot of time either sitting or standing, we want to stretch the hip flexors, and then stretching these can actually help reduce this, the muscle and ligament tightness that causes that intense lower back arch. So I'm taking a step back with my right foot to stretch my right hip flexor, and I'm going to tuck my pelvis under. Then I'm going to find that stretch. So bringing my right hip bone forward a little bit, maybe getting a little bit of a bigger step here by bending my left knee and reaching up with my hand. Sometimes people feel like balance is an issue here, and it will definitely be more of an issue if your feet are one in front of the other rather than the back foot being off to the side a little bit. If you keep your feet hip distance apart, it helps a lot. And whenever you're ready, come on out of it. We're just gonna pivot and switch to the other side. So now my right foot is in front, my back foot is in back. I've adjusted so that my feet are staggered and I've got hip width distance in between them. And I'm tucking my pelvis under, and I'm finding the stretch. Driving my left hip bone forward a little bit. Reaching up with my left hand and over just a little bit. Just to help me find that stretch. Now we talked about foot position with the balance, but I could definitely take my right hand and hold on to something here as well. Activity is just a choose your own adventure book, but people haven't told you exactly where you can choose your own adventure yet, and you get to decide. So we've got 1 moment left just to complete this activity. And I wanted to take a minute to just reach behind you. Just open up through the front of your body. If you find yourself collapsing into your lower back with a really strong arch, tuck your pelvis under a little bit. Have a long, tall spine, and then reach back. Palms are up, thumbs are behind you. You can look up at the ceiling if you want. Beautiful. Adjust your hand position so your hands are on your hips, and reach behind you with your elbows. Just opening up the front of your chest. Take a really nice deep breath here as you look up towards the ceiling, thinking about opening up through the front of your body. Completely exhale, and you all are done. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to pop the next exercise into the chat for anybody who might be doing the little mini exercises on their own. And have an awesome afternoon. Take care.